refreshing root beer. One of the questions I hear, and something I sometimes think about, is memorizing the meanings of the cards in tarot or whatever you're doing. If you're just starting out, of course, you'll have a deck that comes with a book, almost certainly, and you'll use that book as a reference until you get a good idea of the meanings of the cards. At least that's what most people do. And I don't know if you're new, if you don't know me well, let me just tell you, I'm always open to questions and comments and criticism and new ways of doing things. And I think that's one of the most important things you can do is be learning all the time. I've been reading tarot unprofessionally when I was in college, which is about 8 million years ago when my only clients were dinosaurs. No, but really, 37 years ago. And professionally for 25, 26 years. And I'm always learning. One really fun way to learn and challenge yourself is get a different deck. I've been reading with this, it's called the Gilded Tarot. It's by Ciro Marchetti, I think is how you pronounce it. Ciro Marchetti. He's an Italian guy, lives in Florida. I really like his artwork, and that's frankly the main reason I picked it, is because when I first started, I knew I wanted to have a deck that is attractive, that people are going to look at on the table, and that I like. So I like his symbolism and his artwork. I have lots of other decks by this guy, like another tarot card, tarot deck. I got a couple oracle decks. This Gilded Reverie Lenormand. A lot of people I know use Lenormand deck. It's a deck of symbols with no words or anything on the cards. It's pretty cool. But using different decks will challenge you to not just rely on your memorized meaning of a card. So like this deck, which I've only used a couple times, I might pull out this card 41 and what comes to me about it? What do my guides tell me about it? If I'm reading for a person, what does spirit bring me about this card for this person, etc. Is it a wishing well? That's the first thing I think of when I look at this. Look at this guy's artwork. It's so cool. Look how he puts, see like the little gears and mechanisms he puts in things. I really like that. The only criticism I've heard of this deck and decks like it is that people are too realistic. So it reminds them of like a certain person. There's not many faces in this deck. A lot of animals. Ooh, look at that. 10. In this particular deck, he has the playing card equivalent. A sickle. Are you cutting down weeds? Are you harvesting? I mean, the wheat looks golden and ready to harvest. Things like that. But like I said, the only criticism I've really heard of this guy's art and things like it is too realistic. And the faces remind them of somebody they know or an actor or something. Card 1. 9 of Hearts. Okay, horse. But look, it's like a merry-go-round. Now, otherwise, the symbolism looks happy and pretty, right? Got a rainbow. I would ask, let's say it's for me. It's easier to use as a self-reference. Am I going round and round like a merry-go-round on a subject, some part of my life, some aspect of my life? Am I going around and around and not jumping off, jumping on, whatever. That's that's a cool one. I can just look at the art all day long. I love it. I love art. Especially, well, I also like poetry. And poetry also is very much up to interpretation. And that's really one of the main things that I was thinking about when I sat down tonight to do this is in the same way. So in life in general, we know it's just a fact of life that not everything has the same meaning for everyone, not even the same words. In fact, I just watched this video the other day. In America and Western culture in general, well, especially America and Western Europe, anger means a boundary has been crossed. One of my teachers told me, and I like this analogy, anger is like your burglar alarm on your house. It tells you somebody's in there that you don't want in there. And that's exactly how I see anger. Now, first of all, I want to differentiate rage and resentment from anger. Anger is immediate and temporary. Rage is a whole different thing. But anger comes up almost always when a boundary is crossed. Hey, you can't talk to me like that. That's an easy and simple way of looking at anger. However, in Japan, that's not what anger means in Japan. Anger comes up when the collective has been disturbed or offended. The group you're in, or now this person didn't designate or differentiate between like the size of the group. Is it just us at this table? Is it the family? Is it the organization? I don't know. But the way she described it, anger is different in Japan. And frankly, I hadn't really thought about that before. Now, this video is about emotions and the meanings we give them. In tarot and in spirit work in general, and I'll even say life in general, we see what we are willing to see. We hear what we are willing to hear. Think about movies and situations you've even been in real life. Here's one. You're at work. And these men in suits come and get your coworker. And or in uniform, whatever. This happened to somebody close to me. This happened at his work. They came in to get this coworker, and my very close friend described the coworker as a teddy bear, a kind of big guy, always nice and kind, and blah 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 blah. And he got taken away by the police because he was accused of molesting a child or children. And what's the first thing you do? You're like, well, that Ted was so nice. That can't be right. That can't be. That's denial. That's a basic human defense mechanism. Anyway, that point being, and denial is one of the most predictable emotions, reactions. I mean, it happens all the time. Well, that can't be. William, I think your wife's been cheating on you. That can't be. She would never do that. Well, here's a picture of her at Bob's house in his bed. Denial is so predictable. We do it all the time, even with people we don't know. Anyway, so my point is that it's just a fact of life. We see what we are willing to see, etc., etc. Therefore, what better thing can you do for yourself other than to widen your POV, your point of view? What better thing can you do other than be aware of that? And so, bring it back to tarot. that's one of the most fun ways you can do that is use other decks. So you're not relying on just your memory. And if you have a question or anything, just put it in the comments. So let me put my money where my mouth is. Put this deck away. Okay, put it in the box. The deck I've been using for a long time. Oh, and I say this deck, but this is like the 5th or 6th or, oh my gosh, maybe even 7th or 8th one I've purchased. I have worn these decks out. Let's use another tarot deck. Same author. Bigger size card, a little harder to shuffle. Do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'll say my little prayer. I see there's a couple people watching. If you'd like a little quick reading, put it in the comments. I see your name. Divine oneness of being, ascended masters and teachers, our own personal guides and overriding angels, thank you for coming close to this time. We come here today seeking information to shed light upon our individual and collective path. I'm going to cut. Cherie? Heck yes. All right. Cherie. Let's just do, I don't have a whole bunch of room here because my desk's a little messy. Two of Swords. Let me show you the artwork on this. Two of Swords. You know, one of the reasons I don't use this deck is it's a little bit bigger, harder to shuffle, but also I don't like the words all over it. All right, but anyway, Two of Swords. How am I going to do? Two of Swords. Ooh, Queen of Swords. Oh, yeah. What? Another sword. Four of Swords. Five of Swords. Were these all in order when I shuffled them? Yeah, that's a lot of swords. Oh, and then Star. A star is what they call the major. One of the major arcana. And that's in the future. Ooh, Ace of Wands. Justice. Wow. Two of Coins, which is Pentacles. And we'll do Eight of Swords. Well, I guess that's just the way they panned out. Wow. So if Cherie was sitting in front of me, my first suspicion, my first inclination, my first impression would be she spends a lot of time in her head. A lot of attention and energy is given to thinking about things because all these swords at the beginning. So Queen of Swords is the one that really pops out there. And the Queen of Swords speaks very specifically about boundaries. So I'm going to use your name. So as if I am Cherie and saying, welcome to my kingdom. Funny how we say kingdom, not queendom. Welcome to my queendom. Glad you could stop by. I got all kinds of cool things to do here. Good food, good music, etc. I just ask that while you're in my presence, in my kingdom, you obey these simple rules. If you don't want to do that, if you don't like these rules, then move along and go bother someone else. All right? That's paired up with, what was that? Two of Swords. Focus. A lot of people like to say balance with the two, but to me it's more about if you don't focus, then you're going to be struggling for balance. So balance or equilibrium is achieved by looking at where you want to go, just focusing on who you want to be, where you want to go. All right. And you also have the two of coins over here later in the spread, which is the same indication. Now, when I think of Cherie with this is like riding a bicycle. So when you were a kid, you had a bike, and inevitably you tried balancing this thing without moving. Like you get yourself up against a garage or a fence, hold on to it, and like, okay, like try to balance. Very difficult. What you later learn is because of physics, a bicycle is meant to move. So same thing with a lot of aspects of life. We have this idea that, well, once I'm balanced, I'll go do this. Once everything's cool, I'll go do this. Once my kids are growing up, I'll go do this. Once I have this, I'll go do that. And Spirit says, well, if you want to wait till then, I guess so. But otherwise, I'm ready when you are. All right. So, Two of Swords, Queen of Swords, Page of Swords in the conscious mind, Four of Swords. All right, Four of Swords. The four, think of number four, like four legs on a table, four sides of a box. It's structure and stability and security in the number four. So what wants to come to the surface is the four. The, again, not balance like the two, but structure and stability in the four. And how do you do that? By the page, which is growing up, maturing your way of thinking, you might say. And what brings me, Five of Swords, which is somewhat about conflict. It could even be about like conflict within yourself, or maybe even like knowing, like if you were sitting here, I'd say, well, look, man, I'm not telling you something you don't already know. You already know this because that five's in the past. Oh, but it's also an indication of like something has recently changed. Because in that five, something else I see, Cherie, is like the battle. Like imagine like you're standing there going, well, the battle's over, and I won, but was it worth the sacrifice? Because there's dead guys on the field. And Spirit says, well, yeah, because those dead guys are like your old ways of thinking they're like obsolete. Your obsolete ways of thinking. So you're leaving that behind. Thank you very much. That brings forth stability and security in your way of thinking, and brings you to the star, which is your higher self. So it's a lot like in Star Trek when it's funny because I'm assuming you're that kind of nerd like I am. In Star Trek, part of the story is that the Earthlings achieve warp drive, and the what's Spock, the Vulcans notice it and come intervene and help them progress. So imagine in your real personal life, in your inner life, you're achieving this mental maturity and mental stability, and your higher self goes, very good, let's do something with that. What do you want to do? Well, you got the Ace of Wands, man. That's Michael the Archangel. Look at that card. Look at that beautiful fire. So your change in thinking and letting the past, like the obsolete ways of thinking go, bring about an initiation of fire. I want you to contemplate the element of fire, light, heat, and burning. Light like the light of awareness, heat like expansion and growth, and burning as in transformation. You know that's permanent transformation, because once you burn something, you can't unburn it, right? So you are engaging in making that transformation, that change in thinking. You are now making that permanent. That brings up, I dropped one. Justice, which says you are the judge, you weigh the pros and cons, you make the decisions, you direct the energy. Lisa, I appreciate your input, but I've been doing this a long time. And no, what you're saying is not necessarily true, but it's not the way I do it. So you are the judge. You weigh the pros and cons. You direct the energy. You make the decisions. It puts you in the position because of this change in thinking. Two of Pentacles, we covered that about the balance and the bicycle and all that. And is this a 10 of Swords? Eight of Swords. 8 of Swords. So what this does, this change that you are doing now, Cherie, frees you from that mental prison, being stuck in your head. Okay. Shelley. So while I'm shuffling, I'm going to address Lisa's comment. And that is not the way I do it. Thank you, Cherie. Maybe that's the way Lisa does it, but that is not the way I do it. When I first start all this, one of the things that I do is I work with my spirit guides. So I let them do the work. I am the medium. I am the channel for their wisdom. So if you need a way to visualize it, my spirit guides and Shelley's spirit guides are communicating, and they tell me what to say, basically, to put it in a very succinct way. So this is for Shelley. All right, Shelley. Wow. Cut. Okay. For Shelley. 3 of Wands. I love this picture. I want you to see that. Five of Swords. 6 of Swords. Page of Swords again. Page of Wands. 4 of Cups. Knight of Cups. Knight of Wands. Strength. That's one of the major ones. Key 8. Strength. And 3 of Swords. So a lot of people, well, we'll get to that when we get to that. All right, Shelley. So this 3 of Wands, which is like, my ship is about to come in. Some opportunities coming my way. All right, so I'm receptive to that. I'm ready. Crossed with the 5 of Swords. Now, we had that in the last one, which can be a conflict. Usually the conflict's over. And, okay, there you go. The conflict is over. You have released or are releasing the old ways of thinking. That, of course, opens up opportunity for that adventure in that 3 of Wands. Above you is the Page of Wands. Pages, to me, like teenagers, they are quickly learning and growing. So you are quickly learning in your, mental capacity. Could be somewhat emotional, but because all the swords and the position of the conscious mind, it's going to be more like a conscious awareness of how to use your energy, how to move your energy, because it's Wands. Wands is about energy. Swords is about our mind and our thoughts. Cups is about emotions. And coins or pentacles is the earth suit, which is mostly our health and money and physical stuff. All right, so Page of Wands and Page of Swords. I am quickly learning and growing. in the realm of how to use my mind effectively, excuse me, and how to move my energy effectively. That brings up the Six of Swords, which is your conscious decision to be in a happier place or move. You're moving that boat to a happier place because of your conscious decision. And that has yet to manifest because you're still deciding it. You're still doing it. In the future, the Six of Cups. Oh, Six of Cups. Yes. So look at that. Look at that. Happy kid. All right. Teddy bears. Like a, what do you call that? Like a rocking horse, a toy horse. Teddy bear, bunny, right? Childhood bliss, right? To me, this is the card of real, unconditional, childlike happiness. The Three of Cups is conditional. It is situational, like a birthday party. This is real, true, your choice to be happy because it's just your nature to be happy like a little kid. You might use this visualization, Shelly. A little kid on the playground will play with any other little kid. Doesn't matter what color they are, whether they're a boy or a girl, whatever. Kids just want to have fun. So have fun for the sake of having fun, not because somebody says it's okay to, or whatever you used to make that depend on. All right. Knight of Cups and Knight of Wands. One of the aspects of knights, well, A, they're cards of action, and B, what is the role of the knight in the hierarchy of the kingdom? They get the quest from the king or queen to go do something, right? Like get the Holy Grail. So cups and wands and swords and wands. Okay, you have the Page of Swords, Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, and Knight of Cups. So those things all put together tell me you are learning and growing rapidly. As you know, Shelly, because you're over, 12 years old, these cycles repeat not only over and over in time, but also in different parts of our lives. So like in this aspect, maybe I realize I'm immature in my relationship with my mom, but I am more mature because I am a parent with raising my kids. And, those dynamic things that are changing and learning and growing. But this to me is a realization on the part of spirit and also on your part, because it's in the conscious mind, that you are learning and growing rapidly. And you are taking this information, this learning, and learning about what? 100% about yourself. I was doing a reading one time and talking about like karma and the lesson in the situation. And I said, what are you learning? And I said, whoa, before you answer, all men are jerks is not a lesson, it's an opinion. You see the difference? So if it's about other people, it's an opinion or a judgment. So this is all about you, Shelly. All about you and what you're learning. All right? Last two, Strength and Three of Swords. Now I showed you Strength. Remember the lion? So the gentle hand commands the lion. This is not about forcing or pushing or trying. I know in our culture, we are very proud of what I call the cowboy mythology, the individualism and all that stuff. But that's so not true to who we are as a people. All right. This inside you, I love the image of the gentle hand commands the lion. It's not about forcing yourself or anyone else. Your true strength is in being gentle with yourself. There's the wisdom. Your true strength is in being gentle with yourself. All right. Last card, Three of Swords, often seen as sorrow or loss or blah, blah, blah. And I said, really? It's a sword card. So it's about your thoughts, not about your feelings. Therefore, My summation on this, Shelley, is it's a misperception or misunderstanding of yourself. Well, yeah, we just talked about that with the pages, the nights, and all this stuff. What you are doing is resolving or healing this old way of thinking, which is like, I am missing something. I am lacking. I'm not good enough. That's all changing. So, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And until next time, peace and love.